Hey, what's up, YouTube? Samuel, blessed with another day of life, another week of this challenge that he got going on. Let's get into it. Today, I'd like to talk about justice and how to be a just person. Now, I'm in a class. Well, yesterday I took my final for a class, philosophy class, and the topic was justice. I chose justice, and I chose ethical justice. And ethics is pretty much how we as humans should act by ourselves. How should I treat people, and the relationship between a personal relationship within people. So this is like a personal justice. How does a person themselves live a just life? And I was doing this essay on the standpoint of Socrates and his definition of ethical justice. And what he pointed out was that justice from on a personal level, on an ethical level, was virtue ethics and altruism. And what that is morality to everybody, and altruism, giving. Altruism is defined as selfless giving. An altruistic life is a life where you give, not expecting anything in return. And virtue ethics is virtuous. You give virtuously. So in that, I learned deep down in my heart why it is that life is the right kind of life to live in terms of being just and a just person. I was more convicted of what it is, and it's so crazy because it opened my eyes, and I'm excited to get on this journey with you guys. And over the course of this essay and just researching, I read a book called The Republic. I read the first book of it, not the whole book. I'm going to read the whole book though. And I found very beautiful examples of why virtuous ethic altruism is good, why it's just. And in our lives, I believe that everybody asks themselves at some point, at least the person who has good intentions in life asks, how do I become a just person and live a just life? And some people they think that justice is doing whatever you want, living a life where you just party. Some people think that justice is living a just life is giving people what they deserve. If they deserve to get smacked, you smack them. If they deserve to get robbed because they robbed, you rob them. If they deserve death, you give them death. That's what most people define as justice. Some people define justice as if I'm a stronger person and I beat up a weaker person, that's just because I have that kind of power and they don't. And whatever I choose to do with my power is what I choose to do with it. And the weak person would probably be in justice would be like, let's have a law where people could protect us. So everybody's justice is pretty selfish. And this was very interesting to me that Socrates gave a definition of giving everybody something good and virtuously, and giving them selflessly to become the best person. And so let me give you some examples, because his examples were very good. I liked them. His examples were, okay, right here. I'm gonna read a part of my essay so I could explain to you guys what I mean. So I put, Socrates explains the importance of altruism and justice in the Republic when using many examples of roles within the community and their effectiveness without service and the people who fulfill those roles. Socrates explains, and each art gives us a particular good, not merely a general one. Medicine, for example, gives us health, navigation, safety at sea, and so on. Yes, and he says that except Socrates gives insight to an altruistic component in justice. He speaks on justice being exercised through the ability to serve others virtuously, rather than serving unjust people what they deserve, as the pinnacle essence being served selflessly so that the soul benefits in the goodness of action. He uses examples of different skills such as doctors and sea captains to depict their skills as defined by their ability to serve the variable person. To a doctor, it's the ability to serve a patient that defines their rank and prestige as such. As a captain is given his rank for his ability to protect his subordinate seamen. Then he concludes to say, and has not the soul an end which nothing else can fulfill? For example, a superintendent, command and deliver it, and the like. Are these functions proper of the soul? Can they rightly be assigned to another's? No. He's saying that your soul can't be fulfilled. Your soul's goodness can't be fulfilled by anything else. Saying that we all have something, a special art, like a doctor, seaman, and all that. A captain, all these things, you know, construction workers, all these guys, they all have something, and we all have something. But in the end of the day, all of us, justice is the soul, and it needs to give good, it needs to give quality, so that you can become considered just at the end of the day. Because no matter what, if you're giving bad, then that means that your soul's giving bad. And let's continue. And she cannot fulfill her own ends when deprived of that excellence. Talking about the soul. She cannot. Then the evil soul must necessarily be an evil ruler and superintendent. And the good soul is a good ruler, yes, necessarily. And we have admitted that justice is the excellence of the soul, and injustice the defect of the soul. That has been admitted. Then the justice of the soul and the just man will live well, and the unjust will live ill. That is what your argument proves. And he who lives well is blessed and happy, and he who lives ill is the reverse of happy. Certainly, then the just is happy and the unjust miserable. So be it. But happiness and not misery is profitable, of course. Then my blessed Thrasymedes, injustice can never be more profitable than justice. This explains that each person is responsible for their own ability to serve justly, to focus on giving justly to good and bad people, because that is just the nature of justice, regardless of the variable person, good or bad. This is affirmed by the scholarly book that depicts characteristics of altruism, stating that if it's been beneficial to another individual, if it is costly for oneself, and if an equal return is not guaranteed, which describes Socrates' definition of justice as altruistic. That's only altruism. That's not virtue ethics. Virtue ethics is spoken of in another paragraph, but virtuous giving of the soul, regardless of who it is that we're talking about. It doesn't matter the variable. The soul must give good, because at the end of the day, it's not their soul that's going to be guilty of unjust giving. It's going to be yours. And there's so many quotes about that. It's not about about how what we do affects our status, and all that, like pretty much empowerment of the person, not in other people. So it's our responsibility to be just and give good, and that's what I've been doing in my life. I've been trying to give the best I can, because it's going to affect me, and it's going to make me a more just person and a more virtuous person, rather than giving people like what they deserve. Sometimes you want to do that, and I love this because, you know, we see this everywhere, and it's the hardest thing to do. It's hard to be good and loving to a person who's mean to you, who disrespects you, who just doesn't give you the respect you need, and you show them that respect. And my life has changed significantly because of it. I've been able to have more joy and peace, and it feels so great that whenever I deviate from it and I start to be mean to somebody, or just ignoring them, or like giving them what they deserve, they don't respond to me, so I don't respond to them, that whole game, I start to feel like an emptiness in my heart, like this isn't who you are anymore. You're better than that. So we are defined by the way we give, not by the way that people give to us and the way people treat us. By the way we treat others is the definition of who we are. And yeah, justice, that's what justice is in the personal level, in the ethical standpoint. It's your ability to give, serve to others virtuously. So remember that. Your ability to give virtuously and good in the best of your ability, regardless of who they are and the way they treated you. And the Bible states that too. And the Bible states it better than anywhere else in the Sermon on the Mount. I believe it's Matthew chapter 5 or 6. It's one of those for sure. And Jesus Christ says, if your enemy's hungry, feed him, and if he wants you to walk with him a mile, walk with him too. And it's so beautiful because that's the problem that we have. And I applied that when my job, I got a coffee machine. I started to buy coffee and make coffee for everyone. And we just talked, we had conversations. They were just so grateful. And it was beautiful to see that. And I got so much from that. And it was a step that just, other things started happening, and I love it. And so with that being said, God bless, take care, like and subscribe. Bye.